SK14.
I'm not a leftist, I'm a liberal, and we should just talk to each other. Okay, but what are we going to talk about? Because you don't want to talk to people like me. You don't want to talk to anybody who's got anything to say. You want to talk to Jewy Jewstein, who says,
Got a lot of questions about Israel in the last week.
Yeah.
I apologize for my defense of our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I will not apologize.
We know you won't, bitch. Epic.
shut up, you bitch. This guy's the biggest scum-sucking, anti-American loser, traitor.
Who likes Cardi B? 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 Who likes Cardi B?
He's mad. He's mad. Look at that shriveled up little face.
Who likes Cardi B? Who likes Cardi
Heated
B?
gamer moment.
SK14.
In the last week.
Yeah.
I apologize for my defense of our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I will not apologize.
We know you won't, bitch.
But I'm always just very puzzled at times when I get the amount
I'm
of
so
attention
puzzled.
that
I'm so puzzled all the time.
Middle East, the only place where all three monotheists, all the
Somebody's got to go Joker mode.
Who likes Cardi B? 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 Who likes
We gotta go back.
SK14.
I'm not a leftist, I'm a liberal, and we should just talk to each other. Okay, but what are we going to talk about? Because you don't want to talk to people like me. You don't want to talk to anybody who's got anything to say. You want to talk to Jewy Jewstein, who says,
Got a lot of questions about Israel in the last week.
Yeah.
I apologize for my defense of our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I will not apologize.
We know you won't, bitch. Epic.
shut up, you bitch. This guy's the biggest scum-sucking, anti-American loser, traitor.
Who likes Cardi B? 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 Who likes Cardi B?
He's mad. He's mad. Look at that shriveled up little face.
Who likes Cardi B? Who likes Cardi
Heated gamer moment.
SK14.
In the last week.
Yeah.
I apologize for my defense of our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I will not apologize.
We know you won't, bitch.
But I'm always just very puzzled at times when I get the amount
I'm
of
so
attention
puzzled.
that
I'm so puzzled all the time.
Middle East, the only place where all three monotheists,
Somebody's got to go Joker mode.
Who likes Cardi B? Who likes Cardi B? Who likes Cardi B?
All right, guys, welcome back to the Death by Tyranny podcast. If the audio sounds a little bit different to you guys today, I did switch out FET heads. There was one that was recommended a lot on, like streamer helper, YouTube channels. I was using the SE Dynamite, and it was very loud, and it worked very well, but I felt like it was giving it so much of that phantom power gain or whatever that is, that I was getting some tinny noise. So I switched out the FET heads for this cheaper one, and there's definitely an audio, like a quality difference. It's a lot quieter. I had to turn my gain levels up quite a bit more to get the same amount of volume, although I think the tinniness is gone, so hopefully it sounds a little bit better. I won't know until after the fact, after the stream's over, but if you are watching and you do notice a difference, maybe the audio is too loud, too quiet, feel free to comment and let me know. The Discord invite has been sent out to Facebook, Gab, on Discord, as well as the live stream here on YouTube. It is still Christmas Standard Eastern Time in Ohio. We still have an hour and 6 minutes left. If you're feeling generous, you can donate to streamelements.com/Death by Tyranny podcast/tip. I don't expect any donations, obviously, but it is there if you would like to do that. The main reason for the stream today was originally I didn't feel like anybody was going to stream. Nobody had announced any streams. Nobody said they were going to stream today. They said they were going to take the day off. And so I was like, hey, maybe the people that want a podcast to listen to, they want a voice chat to join, maybe some of the GROYPERS on Gab that want to have a voice and speak out that don't normally get on some of these voice chats on these bigger streamer channels can have an opportunity for that. And then, like, literally as I post, I'll be going live at 10 o'clock. Dalton goes live and Franson goes live. And I'm a big Dalton respecter, a big Steve Franson respecter as well. They're actually probably in my top 4 streamers to watch. I love Franson's takes. I think he's a very educated person. I love Dalton's takes. I think he's a very lively youth character, and he's always fun to watch. And I actually did get on his voice chat that he did on his stream today. I do believe they still both might be streaming, so maybe when those streams end, we might get some people that are going through Gab and see the Discord links and the YouTube stream and want to hop on. But I did want to talk about something. I have 3 days off, and obviously I don't want to let these days go to waste because I don't have a whole lot of time to podcast. I would love to do this more consistently, obviously, because that's truly what I hear the most when it comes to how to gain an audience, how to gain a following, is to be consistent. And the times that I can be consistent is around that 5-6 o'clock in the morning hour. And because if I'm off this Friday, I'll have to work next Friday. So it's hard to be consistent working third shift on nights. So during this 3-day weekend, I will be streaming on nights to see the people who want to check out the streams live. They'll have an opportunity to do that. Otherwise, they'll just have to watch the replays when we go back to the 5-6 o'clock hour during the weekdays. And then whatever weekends I have off, we'll obviously do it here at nights around normally when Nick's channel or Nick's show ends, so around the 11:30, 12 o'clock hour. But obviously there's some pretty big names there that I'm competing with, but I have a little bit different style, a little bit different process. This is obviously more of a podcast setup than a streaming setup. We don't do the video game, streaming here. We're more so about having conversations on how to shift the culture and the Overton window. And sometimes we don't even talk about, the daily events or what's happening. Like, we won't be talking about the Let's Go Brandon thing that happened today. Honestly, I think it's not relevant. I think we need to stop with the Let's Go Brandon. We need to say what we mean and mean what we say and just say fuck Joe Biden. And the people that have close contact with Joe Biden that don't support him should have the courage enough to say fuck Joe Biden. That is what it is. That's the only thing we can do to fight the tyrannical government right now, is to let him know how much we hate him, his regime, his narrative, his voter base, and just non-compliance. But to be honest with you, I think that the vaccine mandates are going to, if you're waiting for it to go through the Supreme Courts, it's going to take a long time for that to even happen, because all the judges we have on the Supreme Court are for, I'm trying to think what's YouTube friendly way to say this, bunch of lame ass queers. And I don't think they're going to do anything about it. I don't think they're going to have any conservative takes about it. I think that, they're going to uphold it, and we're all going to be fucked unless we just do not comply. And we've already let it get to the point where almost mass non-compliance might not even work. But that's the best shot we have, is to be vocal and non-compliant. So that's just the way we're going to have to move forward until hopefully the next election cycle. And even then, if Trump don't get off his fucking high horse about this vaccination shit, we still might be faced with the fucking mandates. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if, closer to the end of Joe Biden's presidency of his 4 years or whatever, he does something that enacts that those mandates stay in order through, the first year or two of whoever becomes the next president. And if it's Joe Biden again, God help us. And I think that's when we will truly know that the system is rigged, because his approval ratings are just horrific. And I don't even think leftists, they might not admit it to your face or on their streams, but they don't like him either. They know that the quality in life has drastically dropped in the last 11, 12 months of him being our president. But since I didn't really have anybody join the Discord servers or comment, what they wanted me to talk about, and I still have to produce content, I was thinking about what could I talk about today that, isn't necessarily current events, because it's Christmas. There's not a lot going on, but is still relevant. And it hit me because we're not big. My wife's not real big into making these big festive meals for Christmas, and we didn't have a whole lot of places to go. And I hate ham anyways. I don't like ham at all. Neither do my kids. They're pretty picky eaters. So I was driving around town to try to find something for us to eat. Obviously, we had stuff we could kind of throw together at home, but just to make it easier on cleanup, with Christmas, wrapping paper being everywhere and all of this, and to make it easier so we could just be lazy and enjoy the holiday, I was going to just go grab something, through a drive-through, and everything was fucking closed. And normally, hear me out, and I know you're like, well, it's Christmas. Everything should be closed. Nobody should be working on Christmas. And normally, I would agree. There are people out there that deserve to not be working on Christmas. But I was asked to work on Christmas, and I got out of it. But here's the thing. I would be somebody, and I'm not just saying this because I'm white. I'm saying this because I'm a Christian. I am somebody that should not be working on Christmas. If you are one of these BLM pieces of shit that are on social media talking about how you're not going to allow Santa Claus, you're not going to give him any of the credit because he's a white male for all your hard work that you've done through the years, obviously you don't get what Christmas is about. And quite frankly, you shouldn't get the fucking day off. And I hope you don't get fucking paid for it. And so most of the people at McDonald's, even if they're not these BLM supporters, they're still these fucking faggy white liberals with their fingernail paint. I live in rural, country Ohio now. Clearly I seen the destruction of the inner city growing up, so I moved the fuck out of there the first chances I could get. And there's literally the only thing that is in my town is a McDonald's, and there's still fucking these retarded ass 16, 17-year-old white kids with their fingernails painted and blue hair, and you can't tell if they're a boy or a girl. And so I honestly, I don't think they deserve to have Christmas off. They should have to be there so the ones that are celebrating Christmas still have the accessibility to the things that we may run out of or need or forget to make sure that our holidays are good, because clearly they don't give a fuck about what Christmas is about. They don't understand what it's about, and they don't deserve the time off or the day off. They can enjoy fucking Martin Luther King Day. How about you guys let us have Christmas? We'll work Martin Luther King Day, and you guys can work Christmas. How about that? Does that sound like a fucking plan? It sounds like a plan to me. But so I'm driving around trying to see if there's anything that I can order real fast to bring home to my kids to eat, so we can be kind of lazy and just put together toys and stuff. And nothing is open. So I'm already aggravated because I know all these people that work at these places don't even give a shit about Christmas. Most of them are just at their friend's house getting as high as they possibly fucking can and talking about their gay-ass libertarian ideas. And if they're not talking about that, they're talking about how they're going to make a militia and take over the government. And these are just the retarded white people who don't get it. But the black people are down fucking probably robbing Nordstrom's in California or something. I don't know. But it got me thinking, so I'm listening to the radio, trying to keep my nerve, because for whatever reason, everything's closed and the fucking roads are just busy as all get out. Nobody knows how to fucking drive. And these are probably minorities on the road as it is, because most people are at their family's home enjoying the holidays because they know what it's about. So I'm like on the verge of fucking chimping out in my car. So I turn up the radio. And if you've not heard the music that is put out on the radio today, if you haven't, if you're old enough to have children and they might have phones or social media, go look at the music that these people that they're listening to. It is awful. It is about women having orgasms, multiple partners. The one I heard today was talking about petting her pussy and taking multiple BBCs. If you don't know what that is, that's big black cocks. And this is on, you could go in your car right now and just turn on the radio. This is what kids have access to. And these stupid fucking whore witches aren't censored. They're actually promoted and paid very well, but they'll still get on social media and say that they're repressed and that the white man's keeping them down with their big fat ass shaking half naked on Instagram. Yet they at least have enough privilege to be making songs about how torn up and thrashed their fucking pussies are and making millions of dollars off of it. And they're playing this shit on Christmas. Now, you have all these filthy fucking whores being able to make this music and having it be played on Christmas and Christmas Eve and through the New Year's. But heaven forbid a fucking white man get on here and say, hey, I don't know that the vaccine is safe. I don't know that I would want to expose that to my children. Maybe I should be allowed to have all the resources at my disposal before I inject my child with something. And we already know we're being lied to about it. And a lot of us see it. Like I said, I'm a big believer in what we see with our eyes. But it made me want to have a conversation about what the fuck is going on in the United States and why it is so bad. We talked about what happened that set us on this spiral and the sexual revolution and Woodstock and all this worshiping of vagina is kind of what set off the spiral. But beyond that, why does it continue to keep getting worse? Well, it keeps getting worse because to win wars, you have to change culture. And the problem with today in America is white Christian males can't change culture. If we try to change culture, if we get on things like YouTube or we make music and we make it about how we feel the culture should be changed, and it's not even how we think the culture should be changed, it's how we think the culture should be preserved. We're censored. We're banished. And in some cases, our lives are ruined. Just look at Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes. There's plenty of other people that their lives are constantly under attack for what they say because they are fighting in a culture war and they are a white, straight Christian male. But if you are a transvestite, black, or minority, you can literally go into a classroom and teach elementary school children how to do oral sex and tell them about how fantastic it is to cut off their genitalia. Well, of course they're winning the culture war because white Christian America isn't even allowed to participate in the culture war. So we have to find a way to get back in the fight. And while I agree that a parallel economy, platforms that don't censor us, and for conservatives to build, payment processing and places like Gab and Cozy TV, while I agree these are great things, these are the only way that we're going to be able to keep the conservative message alive, it's not doing anything to put us back into the culture war fight. It's not putting us on mainstream. It's not putting us on YouTube. It's not putting us back on Twitter. It's not putting us, in the spotlight where the children are. Nick has found a pretty good way to interact with the youth and has won a lot of Zoomers onto the America First movement side. But I think it's going to take more than that. And to some extent, I agree with people like Dingo. And I was really hoping that some way there was a Christmas miracle where I could get Dingo into a voice chat and have a conversation with him, because I constantly hear him on the kill stream talk about he thinks that the GROYPERS and the Wignats need to put their differences aside so we can protect white civilization and America. But I really only hear criticisms from him towards America First. It's never towards the Wignats. When the Wignats are the ones that aren't helping the culture war. They're the ones walking around dressed up like Nazis in 1946 in Germany. This isn't helping optics. It's not helping a lifestyle. It's a turnoff to most people in America right now. You're not winning over the youth. You're not winning over white people even. You're winning over a very, very small portion of neo-Nazis, and that's about it. And your 1% of neo-Nazis are going to get far less done than what Nick and America First is going to be able to do. So if you want to bridge that gap, if you want white people to come together to fight this culture war, you're gonna have to come down a couple pegs, big guy, because I know you got an in with Ethan Ralph. And I've met Ethan Ralph in person myself, and he's a very personable guy. He doesn't seem like he has, the reach and the voice that he has in person. He seems like a normal guy. You would never think that this is the guy from the Ralph Retort. He's just not that guy in person. And if I didn't know who he was before I met him in Springfield, I would have never guessed. But because he constantly calls in on the Ralph Retort and Tequila Sunrise and these shows that Ethan Ralph puts on, I feel like Dingo feels like he has more pull than he really does. And now, don't get me wrong, I understand I'm a nobody. But I think Dingo is waiting for Nick or Beardson or Steve Franson or somebody like this to come to him to bridge the gap between Wignats and GROYPERS, and that's just not going to happen, big guy. If you want to show that you truly want to bridge that gap, you're going to have to come to the GROYPERS. You're going to have to come to people like me. You're going to have to win our hearts and mind before you even get a hope and chance into having that conversation with Nick Franson and Beardson, because quite frankly, they're too busy doing things that actually fucking matter, like reaching the youth where the youth is. And the youth isn't in fucking eBay buying old Nazi memorabilia. That's not where they're at. You're not going to win the youth like that. And as far as the boomers, yes, some of the GROYPER, some of the America First, people like me, that's why I started this channel, to try to show the boomers and Gen X the tyrannical government that we have right now didn't start with Joe Biden. It's been a progression for a long time, and that's a very hard fight. And I've not been very successful. So Dingo is right in that we need to team up because we can't do this alone. But where he is wrong is he is not going to get the apology or the handout from the movement that he has constantly criticized, and quite frankly is too busy to fuck with his ass. He should consider himself very lucky that Ethan Ralph gives him the time of day like he does. And I'm not saying that all Dingo's views are bad views. There's a lot of things that he said that I've agreed with. I like that he's very passionate about saving the white race and Christianity. But quite frankly, when it comes to Wignats, there aren't a lot of Wignats that are Christians. Most of them are atheists, which leads them down very dark paths. And so that's going to be a big hurdle for the Wignats and the Groypers to come together to get over. So maybe instead of criticizing America first, maybe work on, your home first. Maybe talk to the Wignats. Maybe try to get some of them to become Christians before you start criticizing a movement that is trying to raise young men up to be respectable Christian white Americans. And then if you have any criticisms beyond that, maybe, even though you have contact with Ethan Ralph, maybe talk to people like me. I'm not that big. I'm not big enough to where my head is so swollen that I'm going to talk over you. And quite frankly, you might even be more educated. You've been in this arena far longer than I have. So you're going to have a lot better opportunity and chance to change my mind, and I'm a Groyper. That's where that bridge starts. And that's kind of what I wanted to do tonight, but obviously, like I said, I'm a nobody, so maybe my message wasn't reached very far. Hopefully sometime in the future, maybe we can get a hold of Dingo. Maybe even somebody will clip this and send it to Dingo. Like I said, I don't wish the guy any ill will. I wish him all the success in the world. I just think some of his criticisms towards America First is kind of projecting because his movement doesn't really have what it takes to do the things that he's wanting to accomplish. And I also think he has to get over this white knighting for white women, because in a lot of cases, just like where this all started and the sexual revolution in Woodstock, there weren't a whole lot of black people at Woodstock doing these degenerate things. There wasn't a whole lot of black women at the forefront of the feminist movement. Those were white women. And I disagree. Of course I love white women. Of course I want white men to grow up and marry white women and to keep the legacy of a white Christian nation alive. Of course, we should all want that. No matter what race or culture you come from, you should want your legacy, your culture, your heritage to exist. This isn't a hot take. However, if it's a white woman that is constantly appeasing minorities and would rather do things to impact black culture and black communities than white people, and that are constantly attacking Christians and white Christian values, then these are not people we need in the movement, whether they're white women or not. And I think this is Dingo's main hang-up on America First, that we have issues with white liberal women. I have issues with witches, and in most cases, I have, let's back up for a second. I have issue with white liberal women. Why? Because liberalism is linked to satanic and Satanism. So whether they're white or not, they are satanic, and they are the devil's reincarnation here on earth to pull white people away from Christianity. And I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they're fucking white. That's just, I don't come on here and only attack Democrats, and for the most part, I come on here and I attack the GOP. I attack them for shilling for Israel. I attack Dan Crenshaw for grifting the 2A community while he's for red flag laws. I'm going to call out hypocrisy. I'm going to do the opposite of what Wignats do in most cases, not all, but most cases, and I'm going to try to get my own house in order first. Before I go to war with the progressives and the American regime, I want to make sure that the people that are fighting next to me have their shit in order. And just because it's a white woman next to me doesn't mean she has her shit in order, and it doesn't mean that she has my back in the culture war. And quite frankly, in most scenarios, it's the quite opposite. It's the white liberal women that are doing the most damage. And now Wignats and neo-Nazis can point to the Jews, but I beg to differ. I'm not saying that Jews are good or they're having any good impact when it comes to helping a white Christian nation succeed and go forward and prosper. But white liberal women are just as much responsible for the downfall of it. And I don't know that I can have a conversation like that with just a normie. And I understand I'm just a normie Groyper American First supporter. But I have the equipment, I have the ability, I'm not stupid. I grew up in the inner city, I grew up with black people, I've dated black people. Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of options. The reason I was red-pilled is because I had no other choice but to accept the inner city and that lifestyle. I didn't have a whole lot of good heroes to look up to. So I learned what was bad by doing what was bad. I'm covered in tattoos and know that's wrong, and that will hurt my ability to further my career in some career fields because I've done it. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying, hey, let's learn from our mistakes and move on from it. But the Wignats, the normal ones anyways, that have these, $100 USB mics they plug into their phone and get on here and talk shit on Gab or wherever, that most of them look like transvestite and look like they drew Sharpies on their fucking faces to look like Lil Wayne, hate black people, but look more like the black community other than their skin color, want to criticize America First. So I can't have a conversation with those people. And Dingo can't have a conversation with Nick Fuentes. And from what I understand, Dingo's already had a conversation with Dingo. I've not found the footage, so I don't know where that led up. But apparently, Dingo's grown and wants to move on from that, and he wants to bridge that gap. So let's do it. Your lower supporters, the lower Wignats, the normie Wignats, they're just here to cause conflict. You can say the Groypers are aggressive, but at least we're spreading the message of Christ. The lower normie Wignats are not doing that. They are spreading the message of degeneracy, just like the white liberal women that you sent for. So, Dingo, come have a conversation with me and see how that goes. And with your popularity and with my support of America First, I promise you, if me and you can see eye to eye on something, then maybe that will help bridge that gap. But until you're willing to do that, you have no right to come on the kill stream and to say that it's the Groypers that keep this fight going, that you're willing to bury the hatchet. Your side isn't willing to bury the hatchet either. I see the comments just as well as you see the comments. Richard Spencer, I don't know what side he's on, but I would imagine he would lean more Wignat, if anything. And it almost seems like he's a contrarian, where he's trying to cause conflict. Whereas when the Groypers cause conflict, we're consistent in our message. We're saying, hey, women, even if you're white, if you're getting on the internet and taking off your clothes, you are a degenerate, you are a whore, you are not spreading a good message to the white youth. You need to get the fuck off the internet. I don't think that's a hot take. And I don't understand why Dingo gets so bent out of shape about this. So, if anybody watches this, like I said, I've been getting a lot more support on Gab than I have anywhere else. Unfortunately, I can't go live to Gab. I can post my videos on Gab, and I haven't got an invitation to Cozy. And quite frankly, right now, I probably don't deserve it because I don't have the following. But I think that, through the time, I'm doing my best to learn what I need to learn to educate myself. I've started setting days aside where I'm learning more about other cultures that are fighting against us. I'm putting days aside to read books that people like Nick Fuentes are suggesting to read when you want to get into these kind of debates and these arguments. And I am ready to do more than just come on the internet and talk. Of course, my passion is podcasting, so that's probably what I will continue to do. But if the tools that I have and my reach grows that I can do more, then I want to do more. And I think this is one of the areas where I can do more. I think that if Dingo is being sincere and bridging this gap between Wignats and America First, then we can get this done. So let's get this done, Dingo. I'm not very hard to find. It's Death by Tyranny podcast on everything. I'm not one of these people that are afraid of, I don't want to be doxxed, but it's not for my sake. It's for my family's sake. My family don't deserve to get attacked. I have 3 children, and I don't wish them to have any ill will towards them because of the way that I feel and my politics. So, but yeah, I mean, you can find me on social media through my real name, but even if you don't want to go that route, it's Death by Tyranny podcast on everything, big guy. Gab, it's Death by _Tyranny on Twitter, which I don't know if you're still on there. You probably are. There's a lot of Wignats on there, just not a lot of GROYPERS. Death by Tyranny podcast on YouTube, Death by Tyranny podcast on Spotify, Death by Tyranny podcast. Well, I think it's just Death by Tyranny on Discord. The Discord invites everywhere. You can leave a comment on any of the videos on Gab. However you want to get a hold of me, big guy. I'm here whenever. I work a 9 to 5 just like everybody else. I just work third shift. So, but even then, I understand that your time's valuable, and I'm willing to make accommodations to have this conversation with you. I don't feel like, because Ethan Ralph isn't going to step in on your behalf to fix the damage that has been done. And quite frankly, he doesn't deserve to be put in that situation. And even the super chatters need to stop it with that. Ethan Ralph runs the kill stream. That's what that platform is there for. It is for a political battle arena. So he should not be expected to hold friendships together and to make alliances. If you want alliances, you have to come to the people. Just like Nick Fuentes went to the youth, and now the youth is on his side. That's how he did that. He went where the youth was. This happens in the 2A community. People like T-Rex Arms, Lucas Botkins, get a lot of hate from the military people, but you know what? He went to Twitch, he went to the youth, and now he's training those people and teaching those people the right way to do things and growing that culture and helping people fight against gun rights at a young age, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's what needs to be done. But the Wignats, what they're doing, all they're doing is spinning in an echo chamber, and you can call Cozy.tv an echo chamber if you want, but there's more and more people coming over there every single day, and Nick's looking for streamers that are beyond the American First spectrum and bringing on more eyeballs and more listeners every single day. There are no Wignat streaming platforms like that. The only people that they attract are Nazis, neo-Nazis, white nationalists. So you can only hope to grow as much as there are Wignats in America. And quite frankly, I hate to be the one to break it to you, big guy, but there's just not enough of you to do any kind of political damage. That it just is what it is. And I think this is why, at some point, you're going to have to bridge that gap with America First. Now, maybe if America First wasn't doing so well and hadn't grown so big in the last year, and now Nick Fuentes is starting to go on to bigger YouTube streams and platforms, maybe this is why you've decided, which in that case, that's very disingenuous. But I don't take you to be a disingenuous guy. And so I think we could have an intelligent conversation about this, and this could be the first step forward. And like I said, you're not going to get the generals of America First. A lot of people want those guys, and not a lot of people get those guys. I mean, look at Milo. With as big as Milo was, even if he's not that big anymore, he was still only able to reach Beardson when it came to debating, even though the debate was kind of over something a little frivolous. And I think Beardson had the right take, and Milo tried to take the higher ground and show that maybe because he knew bigger words that he won that debate. But I truly don't think he did. And that's not me just being biased, because I am America First. So, like I said, there's a lot of people that want those generals. And there's probably more seasoned groypers than me. But I don't know that they would want to have a conversation with Wignats. I don't know that they would want to reach out to Dingo and have a conversation like this. But I do. So the invitation is out there. I don't really have a whole lot of fans to clip or that have reach or connections to maybe get this to Dingo, but I will do my best. Like I said, Ethan Ralph seems like a pretty a humble guy, so if I ever get to run into him in person again, maybe I can ask him in person if we can get in touch somehow. But that probably wouldn't even be until AFPAC 3. So I'm trying to do it this weekend. I have time this weekend. I have the equipment this weekend. So if, your America First clips, anybody like that, clip whatever if you feel the more aggressive part of this podcast would be more beneficial to Dingo actually stepping up to the plate and having this conversation, clip that and get it out to him. Tweet it to somebody that has contact with Dingo, even if it's Ethan Ralph. And like I said, I don't expect Ethan Ralph to do work on my behalf, because he owes me nothing. But if there is a platform that Ethan has that can help me get in touch with Dingo, and somebody wants to point me in the right direction, I'm open ears. I just want to make it happen. I want to bridge the gap as well. I don't know if there's any more groypers or any more wignats that are willing to do that. I've been trying to talk boomers off of the liberal edge on Facebook. So for me to come to the dissident right and try to talk wignats onto the side of America First, or at least make it to where we can work together to have a bigger impact and bigger movement going into 2022 and 2024, because I've said it 1,000 times, we're running out of time. We need all hands on deck. And whether you feel like you're having more impact with a swastika on your arm or a blue hat that says America First, at this point, it doesn't fucking matter. We just need all hands on deck. And until you get somebody like Dingo, that some of these more youth, I don't even know that they're youthful, but some of these other wignats that follow Dingo around are able to hear a conversation where somebody from America First is willing to genuinely be genuine and hear out their arguments and their criticisms towards America First and why you guys do not agree with our movement, and I will do the same, and we can see if there's somewhere we can meet in the middle to where we can do something to move forward together instead of so divided. Now, the trolling, it's not going to stop. The friendly competition, if we can get it there, that's a win. But right now, it's not friendly competition. It is very, very violent, trying to seek the other's demise. And I know Dingo knows that. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Nobody ended up getting on to the... I'll check one more time. Doesn't look like anybody jumped on the Discord invites here. And nobody is on the Gab comments. So like I said, I get it. I don't have a lot of reach. But I'm a 33-year-old white man that had to live through multiculturalism while it was shoved down my throat during trying to build a family during the height of the Obama years. So I've seen it, big guy. I know what we're up against. I know how much worse it has gotten. I know how much Trump did to slow that down. And I think that America First has a pretty good vision on what we need to do going forward. Let's hear your side. And with that said, regardless, Wignat, America First, stay safe, stay prepared. I love you guys. God bless you. America First. Peace, y'all.